Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Coach Red, where we bring you all the news, stories, takes, and opinions about your favorite teams from the Pacific Northwest, from the good to the bad to the Mariners.
The sweet, sweet Mariners, baby.
You know, it is the lead up to Super Bowl week. The Mariners make a big trade for Brendan Donovan, which we will dive into at a later time. My co-host had asked if we were going to do two episodes tonight, but I did not want to detract from the accomplishment of the Seahawks playing in the Super Bowl. And we've got a banger here for you tonight. We're going to be breaking it down by head to head for one matchup for all the marbles. We're going to be going over a ton of different categories: head coach versus head coach, coordinators versus coordinators, quarterback room, running back room, tight end, O line, wide receiver room, IDLs, edge, linebackers, corners, safeties, and specialists. We're going to do all of that in this episode alone. But before we do that, since we were already talking about coaches, why don't I tell you a little bit about us? If you're looking for a coach that is worthy of Super Bowl recognition for this episode, it's me, your boy Coach Red. You can find me on X at the real Coach Red, on Instagram at the real underscore Coach Red, TikTok at the real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, leave a comment or two. And if you're looking for an up and coming riser, kind of like coach's coordinator, and looking for a guy that's got a zest for life and some talking points as well, it's Kane.
Yep, I'm Kane. You can find me over on Twitter, Kane2406, TikTok, Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Boss. Do it, freaking do it.
If I'm not mistaken, we've got 13 different categories. So I wanted to make sure that it was an odd number so that there would be no actual way there could be a tie, because ties are like kissing your sister, and we don't have a sister, so can't kiss her, so gotta have a winner. So there we go.
Well,
We'll start
technically
off
we
at the
do,
top. What's up?
because your wife is my sister-in-law,
That
and,
doesn't
and
count.
and my wife is your sister-in-law. So
Doesn't
technically,
doesn't count. Um, so we'll start off with the men tasked with leading both of these teams to the Super Bowl, and we'll start with the head coaches. It is a battle of the Mikes: Mike Vrabel versus Mike McDonald. Kane,
these
where you feel who has the edge for you in this matchup?
I it's so tough because they're both great in their own rights. Like Mike Vrabel is just a leader of men, right? The way he handles his business on and off the field, the way that his players respect the things that he does during our coaching carousel. I was a big component of, hey, let's bring Mike Vrabel in here because he's a guy who's established, right? Has created his own culture that he created in Tennessee. And I bet they're kicking themselves now, right? Letting him walk out the door. But this was always the writing in the wall when Bill Belichick was inevitably going to be done with the Patriots that Mike Vrabel should at one point coach them. And it was early on in a new generation of the team and the way that he has constructed that lineup from going 4-13 the last 2 years to the Super Bowl is tremendous. But I gotta go Mike McDonald, man. Um, the way McDonald has structured this team, the way that he's basically got them all in the mentality of the only thing that matters at the end of the day is the championship, right? Like you want to win. You're playing this to win. And the way he's got this defense humming, special teams is humming, everything about Mike McDonald and how he leads this team, dude, is just incredible. And for this to be just year two of the regime and just missing the playoffs last year, like Mike McDonald has soared expectations. Uh, he's made this defense into something terrifying. I mean, you shut out the 49ers in basically back to back weeks. Well, you held them out of a touchdown.
Kept him out of the end zone.
But the way that Mike has this team playing as a unit, as one, like all things Seahawks, man. Like Mike McDonald is my choice. Who you got, coach?
Mike McDonald has done a phenomenal job on working with John Snyder to target guys that work within the principles that he likes to have his team exude. And it starts on the defensive side of the ball, being able to create pressure, get timely turnovers. And I think that that's been great. Offensively, he wants to control clock and impose the will on the opposing defense. And they've been able to do that at a better clip than they were last year. They've got a bunch of new faces that came in that came with some pretty big question marks coming into the season. And he's done a great job of managing this team. But I give the slight edge to Vrabel. The reason I say that is because he's been in deep playoff runs now with two different organizations. He's done it with the Titans when the Titans were led by Ryan Tannehill. Granted, you
Yeah,
had Derrick Henry, you had some good players defensively, but when you look at that Tennessee squad that
I think AJ Brown was on that team too.
he was for a bit until he wasn't, right? And
Yeah.
Vrabel was not happy about that. But when you look at a guy that has had great success this year in his first year with the Patriots, the success that he had with the Titans, I think puts him over the top. And when you look at playoff experience as a head coach, he has more of it. This is the
Hmm.
first time for Mike, and it's the first time for Vrabel as well, right? Like he
As a coach.
hasn't coached. He's played in a few Super Bowls, right?
Yeah,
But I give the slight edge to Mike Vrabel. This answer could change as early as next year if there was a repeat. I think that you'd have to give McDonald his flowers, but I think as we sit here on the lead up to that first time, I'm gonna err on the side of experience
that's
and
fair.
put the slight edge to Mike Vrabel.
I mean, that's totally fair because it's so hard because Vrabel's such an amazing coach.
Well, it puts the Patriots up early. Seahawks are underdogs now. What's going to happen? I don't know. Let's figure it out. Next one we're going to go to is the coordinators. So for the Patriots, offensive coordinator is Joshy Boy McDaniels. Their defensive coordinator is Terrell Williams. And their special teams coordinator is Jeremy Springer. They're going up against the likes of Clint, the soon to be head coach Kubiak. You know that he might be from Atlanta because his name is Arden Dirty, and maybe the best Harbaugh of the bunch, Jay Harbaugh, as special teams coordinator for the Hawks. Who do you give the edge to in the battle of the coordinators?
I would say that you have to give the edge, I believe, to the Seahawks. Um, Josh McDaniels has been always a good offensive coordinator, wherever he's been. It's always
Well,
been with the
it's only
Patriots,
he's only been an offensive coordinator with the Patriots.
but to see him do it with Tom Brady and now Drake May, right? It is something to behold. He is a great offensive mind, just not a good head coach. But what Clint has done with his offense, man, has been something to see with how Canine has gotten involved in. every facet now, right? Like to see how JSN has produced all year and in the playoffs. Cooper Cup in the blocking, Jake Bobo in the blocking. Like no other teams are running like that. You know, they're running on a lot of heavy tight ends and they're blocking. Like we just run Saubert and the barnyard out there and everybody does their job, right? So offense has been humming all postseason and you expect that to continue. I just think they have the edge, especially in the special teams department, right? Like Rashid Shaheed is absolute threat at any point in the game. And if he takes one to the house, it's gonna be crazy, right? Defensive coordinator, Durde doesn't call plays. That is the big thing, but the motivator that he is great. I have to give the Patriots defense their flowers on this one for defensive coordinator because that guy's done a phenomenal job.
I don't know if he's calling plays either.
I don't think Vrabel's calling plays.
You'd think that, but I don't know for sure.
I'm pretty sure because I'm pretty sure he called plays when he was in Tennessee for a bit, but you have that tenure, you have your guys. That's what you hire them for at that point. Durde's going to call plays at some point, and it's probably going to be next year. But
Possibility.
overall edge, I gotta give it to Seattle. All three facets are great. I just think slightly above what the Patriots have. Coach Red, who are you taking at the coordinator position?
When I look offensive coordinator, yes, you've had success with Josh McDaniels. Usually, when you have sustained success, that leads to head coaching opportunities. And
Happened
Joshy Boy
twice.
has never been the guy that other teams need to be the leader of men. Um, Kubiak's going to be getting his first shot after the Super Bowl with the Raiders. He's a guy that had
He's
had
had
some bumps in the
success.
road coming through. Some of that was the head coaches that he was under, but how he's been able to meld the offensive personality with the defensive personality that Mike McDonald wants. Um, just on him getting a head coaching job, really in his first time getting hyped up to do so.
Mhm.
I'm going to give the edge to Kubiak there. Defensive coordinator wise, never heard of Terrell Williams before today when I did a little bit of research. And I know that Arden Durde is not calling plays, but I don't think that Demarcus Lawrence is on this team without him being the coordinator. And what juice he's been able to bring to this team and just how spirited this defensive unit plays under both Durde and McDonald. They're both on the sideline getting these guys hype. I'm going to give the edge there. And the Seahawks have had the best special teams throughout the entire season, basically. Since I think it's since like week 10, they've been first in DVOA and it hasn't stopped. They are opportunistic. They have arguably the best punter in the league. He hasn't had as many opportunities to do it this year. You got Jason Myers, who leads the league in points scored by a kicker. And when you look at what Rashid Shaheed does, we're going to get into the specialists later, but it's clean sweep for me. Hawks all the way
It's fair.
with the
It's
coordinator.
fair.
All right, we are tied up 1-1. Now we're going to go over to the quarterback room. We're not talking about backups. We're just talking starters here. Drake May versus Sam Darnold.
Like Drake May, I understand is up and coming. He's an MVP candidate. Um, all that. But if I'm going off playoffs right now and thinking about what they've done in the playoffs so far, Sam Darnold has blown Drake May out of the water. I feel like the rushing yards may differ, right? I
Big
believe
time.
you said that he went off.
He has been
Uh,
going off. He's has like 140 rushing yards in the playoffs right now.
but Sam surgically cut up the 49ers defense. Surgically cut up. the Rams. Like the dude's playing at such a high level right now, and for having an oblique injury that kept Luke Rayleigh out for months, right? It's Sam Darnold's. It depends on how much is hurt or whatnot, but the things that he's doing with the Rock right now is insane, and I expect that to keep happening in this matchup as well. Um, it may not all be JSN and everything, but I have a good feeling the ball is gonna be shared. Everybody's gonna get some love, and Sam Darnold is gonna do it cleanly. So I got to give the edge to Sammy D. Uh, Ginger Jesus has been amazing most of the year. Um, and he took this team to a Super Bowl. Like we knew that Drake May has been good. He was drafted high, just like Sam was. But this story for Sam, where in the last 2 years, he's also 28-6. Like,
7. They lost in the playoffs last year,
sure,
so that's a
sh-
fourth loss.
okay, but regular season 28-6,
Just you're
right?
just you're just glazing up the postseason stuff, and now you're like throwing
Yeah,
it away for last
sure.
year.
But what Sam Darnold's done with this team this year is absolutely incredible. Give me Sam in this. Coach Red, who you got?
I got to go with Drake May, and I'm going to be giving it on the totality of the season because Drake May hasn't looked great in the playoffs. Couple that with 2 snow games, right? That makes it a little bit more difficult to operate.
Mhm.
And we'll get into some other stuff later, but to be considered right in the thick of the MVP conversation in year 2 in the league, to take a team from 4 wins to 14 wins during the regular season, win 3 playoff games, although they have been ugly. For the totality of the year, Drake May is and has been the better quarterback for the totality of the year, right? You've seen some fluctuation on that in the playoffs, like I talked about, a couple turnovers, I think 3 total. Sam Darnold has been the better playoff quarterback, but you also have to look at some of the highs and lows of Sam Darnold, right? You've got the stretch against the Colts game, the Vikings game, didn't look overly great. The first or the technically the second game late season, last game of the year, he did good things in that game, but he wasn't really pushing the ball as much as you'd seen him do. He has limited the turnovers as of late, but I think when you look at the totality of the year, if you were to sit there and just say you need to build a team right now with people that are playing in the Super Bowl, who's your QB1? I think that Drake May gets the ever so slight nod in that just based on what he's done the whole season.
Fair.
Patriots back on top. 2-1. Suckers. Well, we'll go to the running back room, and this room is a little different than we would have anticipated. And I think that it could be a different story one way or the other if both teams are at full strength here. But for the Patriots, we've got Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson. And for the Seahawks, you've got Kenneth Walker III and George Halani. Which running back room are you taking, Cain?
The only thing I worry about with the Patriots backs are their hands, right? Like major fumble scares. Ramondre is a big component of that, and I believe Hendrickson early in the year was fumbling too. Um, I know George Halani has missed some time, but now with a couple more weeks under his belt, a game and everything, you expect him to look a little bit sharper in the Super Bowl.
Well, and he did some good things in the last playoff game,
Yep,
catching the ball out of the backfield, especially.
exactly. After the behind throw that Sam lasered to him. He was pretty nails after that and fighting for extra yards. But Kenneth Walker, man, has been unreal for like 7 weeks now. And the way that this man has been running is like a bat out of hell. I think you couple him and George Halani with what they do in the ground game as much as they do in the passing game too. And K9 has been a phenomenal blocker lately. So there's also that. I got to give my edge to the Seahawks, man. I think their running back room is just that much better. And K9 has been, I feel, better than both Travion Hendricks and Ramondre Stevenson combined. So, Coach Red, who you taking?
Well, I need to find something here real quick that's going to help me. Um, so to quote um, Gloria Clemente from the classic movie White Men Can't Jump. Kane, you so stupid. I think that the best running back that will be on the field on Sunday is Kenneth Walker the third.
Yes.
I think hands down the best room is the Patriots. If Sharp is playing in this game, I think that you give it to the Hawks. Ramondre has been rolling in the playoffs, and Henderson at any point has exploded. You looked down the stretch, and that guy ripped off. I think he had like 4 or 5 runs of 70 plus yards this year. That guy is what we expect, home run in a bottle with Kenneth Walker, and Ramondre is your rumbling, stumbling, go downhill guy. It's what we love and what we've become accustomed to with Sharp and K9, right? But I think Kalani brings it down slightly because I don't think that he's on the same caliber
That's
as anybody. That's like,
yeah.
and I do like George Kalani, right? We've talked about him when he was a preseason stud and earned his spot on this roster. What he scored a special teams touchdown against the Steelers earlier
He
this year, right?
also got a touchdown in the Commanders game.
Like he he has good traits to him, but he doesn't have the game changing traits that you see on the other side of the field. I think as a total unit, it would be an injustice to talking about the unit if it didn't go to the Patriots. But I will say
I just
that
have
Kenneth
faith.
Walker will is and will be the best back on the field.
All right.
I just that
That's
was like I've put some of these like I when I broke my stuff down, I have who that I think has the better unit, and some of them I put slightly better. So if you make a good enough argument, I'll more than happily change my original vote. But that was one that I had locked, cocked, and ready to rock. No, slightly,
you got
just
your
because of the
hey,
totality of the room.
you got I get it. You got your opinion, I got mine.
All right, let's go to the offensive line. All right, here's what we got for the Patriots. Just talking starters, and I'm going to go left tackle to right tackle. Going to do the same thing for the Hawks. So you've got Campbell starting at left tackle, Jared Wilson starting at left guard, Garrett Bradbury at center, Mike Onwenu at right guard, and Morgan Moses at right tackle. For the Hawks, you've got Charles Cross, left tackle, Gray Zabel, left guard, Jalen Sundell at center, Anthony Bradford at right guard, and Abe Lucas at right tackle. Who are you leaning towards here, Kane?
Well, I haven't really watched the Patriots, but I know their offensive line has been pretty good this year. Um, I need some stats if you got any.
Well, I'll just take the lead on this one because I do have some stats written down. So, uh, rushing wise, the Patriots, including the playoffs, have ran for around 2,500 yards offensively. The Seahawks are at a 2,350 mark, so 100, about 150 less. But Sam Darnold doesn't have the rushing stats that Drake May has, and some of that is on scrambles.
Mhm.
During the regular season, the Seahawks gave up 27 sacks. The Patriots gave up 47 sacks. No, that I think no, I think those are total numbers. Seahawks have given up 5 sacks in the postseason. The Patriots have given up 15 sacks in the postseason. And if I wanted to go player by player, just at their counterpart, I think Charles Cross right now is a better overall player than the rookie Campbell. Love him, right? Love that. I love that kid coming out of LSU. Was one of
Mhm.
my big draft crushes this year, and I think he has really helped solidify this line. I give Charles Cross the edge there, though. Talking about another rookie, Gray Zabel. I've never even heard of Jared Wilson. So guess what? I'm gonna go with Gray Zabel, who's first team all rookie at guard,
And
and
also
has
has had like 3 penalties on him all year.
and I think that he's only been credited with giving up 2 of the sacks, right?
Yeah.
He's had a pretty damn solid year. When I go to the center position, you got Garrett Bradbury, well-known name, versus Jalen Sundell. Jalen Sundell, you've seen this team really take off once he got back into the lineup late in the year. But I think when you look at player profile longevity, I'm gonna give the edge to Bradbury there.
Yep. Yep.
Um, when you look at right guard, when you heard of him, he's been a big name. He's been a big free agent at times. And Anthony Bradford, we've seen the breakdowns. If you're on X Twitter at all, you've seen breakdowns or even on TikTok of Anthony Bradford uh low lights of blocking his own player, not blocking anybody. You know,
You can name
has he
whatever you
done
can name.
better down the stretch? Yes, he has.
Yes.
But no, he doesn't. He does not win that battle. So we're sitting at 2-2 right now in the battle of the offensive line. Comes down to right tackle. Morgan Moses has had a long career. He's been with the Commanders. He's been with the Dolphins, just to name a few. He's been a above average right tackle his entire career in the NFL. He's a little bit older. You look at Abe Lucas. Abe Lucas just signs his extension this last year. When he's been on the field, he's been a top flight right tackle. Where it's hurt the Seahawks is he's dealt with injuries 2 out of his first 4 years, right? This really hasn't been that year. He came in invigorated. He's a stud. This line is a different animal. He is the key piece to this entire offensive line.
Yes.
When we have done well, even with inferior interior offensive linemen, when Abe Lucas has been on the field, he's been the glue that really makes this thing churn. So
Wait.
give me
Give
give
me
me Abe
Seattle.
Lucas. So when you look at that across the board, we got him 3-2. Yes, the Patriots have had some more rushing yards. I attribute that to Drake May and 15 sacks in the postseason. I know that on some things I'm talking totality, but hey, guess what? They gave up more sacks overall this year and are getting decimated in the postseason. And you've got, we'll get to it, a team that,
I mean, they faced the Texans, right? Who get after the quarterback. They face the Broncos, who get after the quarterback. Like,
guess what? Seahawks are coming to get after that quarterback as well.
exactly.
All right, Seahawks it is 3-2. All right, now we're gonna go to the tight end room. We're talking about top three, and I left out fullbacks, but I do want to give a shout out to Jack Westover,
Yeah.
former Husky
Uh,
alum, and
wanted that guy on the team.
he is acting as their fullback right now. Fun story: his sister before the season put a $5 bet out, the Hawks and Patriots, because he's from Mount Si, out of North Bend. So she put a $5 bet and won $18,000. So he's not included in the tight end room, even though he technically is still kind of a tight end, kind of like that H back, kind of like Brady Russell is. But
Yeah.
I left fullbacks out. But here's the tight end room for the Patriots. You have
Henry.
Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, and CJ Dippe. For the Hawks, you've got AJ Barner, Eric Saubert, and Elijah Arroyo.
I really honestly don't think this is a debate. Like, I think the Patriots have, in totality, the better tight end room with Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry for the pass catching prowess that they have, right?
I don't know anything about Dippe, right? And we really don't know what we're ultimately going to see, if anything, out of Arroyo in the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
It's gonna kind of be an unknown.
Like,
Hunter Henry is one has been since he got into the league, right in that second tier of pass catching tight ends. You know, you've got your Travis Kelsey's for the
George
while there. It was
Kittle's.
Andrews, Kittle. You throw in Laporta when he's healthy, Hawkinson. Those are kind of your top flight guys. Hunter Henry is just nipping at the door right behind him, right? He
Yeah,
is
I mean,
a bigger pass catching threat than Barner right
yeah,
now. And Hooper's the same way. But where the Seahawks have the edge here is the
the
blocking they get
blocking.
out of their tight ends.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're not talking about the offensive line anymore. I want my tight ends to have a little splash, a little
Like,
sizzle,
don't get me
right?
wrong. Do I want AJ Barter to go crazy in this Super Bowl?
He
Hell
could.
yeah, I do.
I want to see him. I want to see the touchdown dance so bad in the Super
Oh
Bowl.
my God, that'd be awesome.
It's
But
like the I was gonna say it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger if he was a robot, but I'm like, it's the movie Terminator. He looks like the Terminator's coming in. Wow.
yeah, but I think if it's not even up for debate, right? Like we know how the evolution of AJ Barter from year one to year two. Uh, but I think he's going to be a prolific pass catcher at some point. Yes, but he's not to the point of what Hunter Henry
HH is.
is.
Yeah.
Like I believe he was like second or third in touchdowns on the year too
Yeah.
for tight ends.
Hunter Henry's a problem. And luckily,
Boys.
like we can talk, which we're gonna talk later. I think the Seahawks have done a good job handling tight ends, but I agree with you. The tight end, this is kind of one where the Seahawks have different pieces that make theirs interesting, and we know that inside and out. Not watching the Patriots all the time, but you know what Hunter Henry brings to the table, and that's why I'm
And
kind of veering from my running back room where I said Kenneth Walker right now is the best, but the room is better because Solani brings it down. I don't think that there's enough juice with Sauber and Barner to make that push
mhm.
hard to unseat him. And Hooper's been in the league for a while. He's a veteran. He was a big time pass catcher. Not as much later in his career, but
No, but
I
you
think
see
that
it.
I agree. You got to give the tight end room to the
Yep.
Pats.
Yeah. 100%, dude.
All right. We'll hop on over to the wide receiver room. What I've got for the Patriots are Stephon Diggs, Keyshawn Butte, Pop Douglas, Matt Collins, and Washington State University alum Kyle Williams. And they go head to head versus Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Cup, Rashid Shaheed, Jake Bobo, and I threw in Derek Young so that way we could have
Mhm.
equal numbers if we wanted to go player to player.
I still don't think this is a debate. I think Seattle has the better wide receiver room altogether.
I think that
Um,
JSN is so far and ahead of everyone on this list that it's kind of like that Hunter Henry argument.
yeah, but like I look at Stephon Diggs, right? Look at past years in big moments. He's floundered in a lot of moments,
Butte
right?
has been kind of their
He's
horse in the playoffs, and he's their
yes,
big play maker. Like
but
they
also
get
you
deep
got
downfield.
after JSN, you got Cooper Cup, who's been clutch as all can be in the postseason, right? Big plays after big plays from him when you need him most,
Yeah, there's
right?
just so many guys where it is just so very much like you look at kind of player for player and kind of how they match up. I think that you're kind
She
of
just clears their number three.
you're looking at Cup versus Diggs, kind of the wily vets on the squad, right? I
Yeah.
think that Diggs slightly beats Cup, but I think with what Cup's been doing late season and into the playoffs, give me a coin flip. When you look at deep downfield threat, Keyshawn Butte has had more of those big boom plays than Rashid Shaheed has for the Hawks. I think you would give a slight there. So let's call it a wash between those two, right? You've
Mm.
got Jake Bobo and Mac Hollins. Like you couldn't tell me those two guys are not the same special teams monsters, both willing and adequate downfield blockers in the pass game. Like those two guys are basically the same player,
And
right?
also big body targets to find a weird touchdown at some point in the game.
Yeah. And then you look at, granted, I think that Derek Young, he's been with the Hawks for a while, but I still consider him a young guy, from him coming from a smaller college where they were running a fly sweep offense, right?
Mm.
It's taken him some time to really establish himself, but he does well in the special teams. And Kyle Williams was the guy that was looked at to kind of be that fringe guy that could make a big move. Hasn't really seen it. He is one of their returners, but call that a wash. So I mean, you look at it, JSN versus Pop Douglas. Those are the guys that are left. And even if you put JSN versus Stephon Diggs, he whoops
Clears him. Clears
big
him
time.
easily.
So I think when you have enough closeness and player
I
profiles,
just think the room is better in all instances as well.
I
Just
think that they play. It's tough to say because both both guys, quarterbacks, threw for over 4,000 yards, right? And Drake May, his second leading receiver, I think, was Hunter Henry. So Keyshawn Boute's come on late. Stephon Diggs kind of leading the pack for him. But when you kind of see a big discrepancy, I think it's like Diggs right around 1,000. Hunter Henry is about 700. Everyone else is below 500. With Hawks, you've got JSN up here at 1,700. Then you've got Cooper Cup. Then you got AJ Barner, and they're all kind of in that 500, 600. So similar rooms, right? But JSN just hands down takes it over the
yeah.
top. All right. That puts through the offensive side of the ball, and coaches, we've got Patriots are in a slight lead at 4-3. Let's go to the interior defensive line. For the Patriots, we'll start with Milton Shake Williams. You've got Christian Barmar and Tony Tonga up against Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, Jaron Reed.
I, Milton Williams is an absolute animal, right?
And Barmore has stepped up his game. He's a guy that I loved coming out of
But
college.
but Byron Murphy, unreal. This
Byron Murphy should be first
entire
team All Pro. You've got
like
Leonard
Leonard
Williams that should
Williams.
be first team All Pro. And Jaron Reed is probably one of the more underrated
Yes.
interior defensive linemen in the last decade.
Bro, since he came back from his wrist
What he
injury,
what he did when he left the team and still played well for the Packers, what he was able to do early on in his career. Like Shake Williams and Barmore are fun, but Jaron Reed outplays Tonga every day of the week. Um, Shake Williams versus Byron Murphy, they have different styles, but I give it to Byron Murphy and his ability to stop the run at such a high clip. And then boom, Big Cat versus Christian Barmore. Like, dude, it's Big Cat all day.
big cat all day.
Yeah, that was a easy no brainer. That's 100% Hawks.
I feel like that's most of this, right? Is like, oh yeah, instantly this one. But
Yeah.
there are just a couple that are very hard to really discern.
Yep. All right. We'll go over to the edge position for the Patriots. You've
Ow.
got
Get off.
Harold Landry, Clavion
Pretty good.
Chason, Elijah Ponder, and Anthony Jennings. For the Hawks, you've got Demarcus Lawrence, Chenna Nwosu, Boye Mafe, and Derek Hall.
And I'm going to say something crazy. I might not be, but I feel like DeMarcus Lawrence and Uchenna Nwosu combined clear their entire edge room.
I don't think that's far fetched. Boye Mafe, pending free agent. I was texting you last week,
Yep.
and yeah,
He just
he's a hot. He's one of the going to be one of the most sought after edge guys in this free agency class, and overall sack numbers, I believe the Hawks, which you do have to factor in some of the interior defensive line for both of these, right? But when you're looking at edge, I'm looking at pass rush. It's what I'm primarily looking at. And the Hawks out sacked the Patriots by like 12 sacks on the year. Not, I just looked regular season. It's tough to go back and forth between playoff stats versus this, but their edge group gets after it. They have the
also
most
get
pressures in the NFL. They get after people. And when you look at a guy that has been sacked quite a bit in the playoffs, when you look at a guy that is looking to extend plays with his arm and moving around and trying to then escape and then go get yards in the run game, it's going to be very interesting to see if the Hawks can get home with four consistently and make life very hard. And then you can run if you really need to. When we get into the linebacker talk, you could sit there and legitimately spy with Drake Thomas or Tyrese Knight. Both are phenomenal, fast, good tacklers. They could make it a living hell for Drake May come Sunday.
agreed. Like I said, I think that just DeMarcus Lawrence and Uchenna clear their entire edge room because those two, like this is Uchenna finally healthy, right? And he's been an absolute monster
He
this
hasn't been
year.
getting after the quarterback, but his the other
Uh,
thing that you really look at is this edge group. I know that I talked about just wanting to look at pass rush, but this edge group has done such a phenomenal job in ensuring that the Hawks do not give up a 100-yard rusher. Chenna Nwosu might be one of the better edge rush defenders.
yes.
And then you want to know who's another great one? Boye Mafe, right?
Yeah. And I
Like,
mean, Derek Hall has also been insane.
and Lawrence has done his work too. So it's like, yeah, give me the Hawks all day on this
Yeah.
one.
So we're tied up now.
No, that gives the Hawks a slight lead because they tied it up on interior defensive line and now
Oh,
take the lead with
yep.
edges. So they are up 5-4. All right, now we will be going to the linebacker room. Um, Patriots, Spillane and Christian Ellis versus Ernest Jones and Drake Thomas or Tyrese Knight.
Ernest Jones and everything that he does on the defensive side of the ball is absolutely unreal. And he's a more athlete. He's way more athletic than Bobby Wagner ever was, and we all love Bobby. Is that
I
oh,
wouldn't
dude?
say ever was.
I don't know,
That's
man.
that's that's blasphemy. That is
EJ is just such a freak out there, man. I
he is,
know.
but when you if you saying he was a better athlete than Bobby Wagner ever was, dude, you got to throw on some Bobby Wagner would pick six the Niners once a year, and it wasn't like from the 20, it was from your own 20 going 80 yards. Like Bobby
Hey,
Wagner, athlete in his prime.
all right,
Shut up.
all
That's bad.
right,
Bad
all right,
take.
all right. But what he's done, right? IQ wise, everything on the year. And Drake Thomas has been instrumental to this linebacker room, right? The holes that he has met running backs in on the year. It's been fun, right? Both of these guys fly around the field, and I think they both clear the linebacker room for the Patriots.
Yeah,
They're also a part of that not allowing a 100-yard rusher. Like,
what we've seen out of Drake Thomas and Tyrese Knight when he's been on the field as well as that linebacker too. Ernest Jones is the best linebacker on the field, and you could argue that Thomas or Knight they could push for two, but they're no worse than 3 and 4 that would be in that group. When you
mm-hmm.
look at the totality and the cumulative of that, it's an easy move to Seahawks linebackers.
Yes.
All right, here we go. I know the Seahawks run their dime package and all of that good junk, but since the Patriots are really only starting two guys, I went with top two guys versus top two guys. Didn't really look at nickel here because then we would potentially be at an even number. So we're just talking two guys versus two guys. You've got for the Patriots, Carlton Davis and Christian Gonzalez. And then you've got Reek Woolen and Devin Witherspoon. I left Josh Jobe off the list.
I want to just start this off by saying Christian Gonzalez is one of the best DBs in the league. It's no question about it. The dude's an absolute maniac out there, and just what he does when healthy, like he's one for one, right?
You do
Um,
realize that on the other side of the ball, you've got another guy that's
yeah,
regarded as one of the
yeah,
best corners out there,
yeah.
and Devin Witherspoon.
We're getting there.
I know,
We're
but I'm
getting
saying
there.
you're talking about young guys that have lived up to every expectation, and both of them have
it
done it their entire
just
career.
Christian Gonzalez is a different animal, man. But then you look at the Seahawks side, and I know Carlton Davis has had his
He's had a resurgent
he's
year
had a
this year.
couple years, right? He was with the I believe he was with the Lions at one point
Maybe I think he was with them last, and then he started his career with Tampa Bay
in
when Tom Brady was down there.
yeah, and I think he might have played for Atlanta one year. I don't know. I don't quote me on that, but uh when you look at the other side on the Seahawks side, right? You have Devin Witherspoon who has lived up to the expectation, has been an absolute difference maker, right? And then you have the freak athlete in Reek Woolen, who, as of
Reek has transported back to rookie year, and he
yes,
is playing the best football he has since that
a,
initial year.
as you said a couple weeks ago, when Reek's laying hat, I mean
You know the
that's
defense is humming, and Reek is putting it all out there, and I think because of that, the Seahawks, I think their cornerback group
yeah.
is better. I think that when you look at Christian Gonzalez, we'll put him at one. You've got Spoon at two, Reek at three, and Carlton Davis at four.
I'm
I don't
honest.
think that the gap between Christian Gonzalez and Spoon is as big as the gap between Reek and Davis, the way that Reek's been playing this year. So I agree
Yeah.
with you. Give me the Seahawks corners.
Yes.
This one's going to be fun. The safeties for the Patriots, you have Jalen Hawkins and Craig Woodson. I'm going to caveat that with I've never heard of either of those guys before
Same.
today. And for the Hawks, you've got Kobe Bryant, Julian Love, and Nick Emanwari.
Not even a close conversation, dude. Again. And it doesn't even have to start with Julian Love or Kobe Bryant because Nick Minwari is him. I mean, what can
I
this
saw a
kid
clip that
do?
someone called Tom Brady. They were on like a late night talk show, and he unprompted started talking about Nick Emanwari.
I mean, he is just something special, isn't he? Him alone wins this category, in my opinion. And Julian Love and Kobe Bryant are just sprinkles on top.
Yeah, and granted, I don't know these guys at all. They could be awesome. I think that one of them had like two picks in a game. Uh,
Sure.
on CJ Stroud. But
It's not hard to do though.
but the tenacity and gamesmanship you get out of Julian Love, the opportunistic times you get with Kobe Bryant, and the game changing ability that you get with Nicky Manwari, which has allowed you to run, let's call it big nickel, big dime, and have him man up on tight ends. He has done work against George Kittle. He has done work against the top guys and has held his own this entire year, if not exceeding everyone's expectation. We knew the athletic prowess that he brought to the table, but was he going to
Those are
be
gonna
able to
click.
harness that and execute on the football field in year one? That was the biggest question. And he's done that
Yes.
in spades. Yeah, dude, it's safeties all
This.
day for the Hawks.
Oh,
All right, we have our last category, which is the specialists. So this is going to be kicker, punter, and top return man. Kickoff return is what I'm going towards here. So you've got Andy Borgalis as the kicker. You've got Bryce Behringer as the punter, and Kyle Williams as your returner. For the Hawks, you have Jason Myers as the kicker, Michael Dixon as the punter, and Rashid Shaheed as your return specialist.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The Patriots kicker has been pretty nails all year, but Jason Myers has been better. As you said, he's the most points for kickers in the league. I saw an interview from Super Bowl media with our great Aussie kicker, and he was talking about when he kicked the ball to Isaiah Smith the first time and he dropped it. He can do it because Jay Harbaugh lets him have freedom, right? And well, it kind of lets them do what they want. Michael Dixon puts a weird kick on the ball, makes him drop it. He then goes to Derek Young, maybe two punts later, and goes, "I'm gonna do it again." Jump on the ball. Now, Michael Dixon all day. I think a strong case for this because he is arguably the best punter in the league. And the most dangerous man, Rashid Shaheed. He's already housed multiple kicks, being in the punt game and kickoff, right? Kyle Williams ain't doing that. Come on now. Like just the tone setting that Rashid Shaheed can do as well. There is no discussion on this one. It's Seahawks all day. Their special teams has been first for most of the year as well. So can't argue with stats that back it up. Give me Seahawks. Coach Red, who you taking?
Um, like you said, Borgalis has had a pretty great year, right? But Jason Myers, I think this year has established himself as maybe the best kicker in Seahawks history. He did have, a perfect regular season a few years back. He had a couple misses this year. Only one of them really hurt you,
Mm-hmm.
where he came up short against the Rams for the game winner. He had that late hiccup against the Niners where he doinked one and just straight up missed on a shorter field goal. But outside of that, Jason Myers has been absolute nails.
Money.
Michael Dixon has been a top two or three punter since the day he was drafted. So,
Yes.
um, Michael Dixon all day. And Rashid Shaheed has absolutely invigorated the special teams unit when we are doing any sort of return because Jay Harbaugh can scheme it up and he has the sizzle to make it happen. Here's the thing. Do I think that Kyle Williams is going to have a better Super Bowl in the return game than Rashid Shaheed? My answer is yes, I think he does.
Because why would you kick to Rashid Shaheed?
I think that when you are looking at the kickoff game, that they are going to kick that ball out of the end zone every single time. And if you're the punter for the Patriots, even if you're backed up, it's not gonna be all right, get distance on this one. It's gonna be get hang time so she can't get a return.
Yes. Agreed. I mean, they're going to try to take an entire facet out of the game, which is
Rashid
they
Shaheed,
should.
Rashid Shaheed and rookie DK out of the Titans were far and away the top two guys. And
Mhm.
She'd actually ratcheted up a notch after he got with the Hawks. It would have been interesting to see a full year with him on this team, right?
Yeah.
In the return game, but
Fingers crossed for next year.
just boom, boom, boom. That's 3 wins across the board. So since we got done with the tight ends, the Patriots did not win another category. They did not win any defensively. There were some that were close, right? And like we said, there's going to be a lot of push and pull in this game. This is two relatively young teams when you look at them, um, led by two good leaders. Both sides have guys that have been there before. Both sides have guys where this is their first dance, right? In a variety of ways. But when I look at this, I think just like we said, the Seahawks have the edge. They win 9-4 in our head-to-head battles. So I guess that it's time. What is your game prediction for the Super Bowl?
Like, who I think is going to win, or do I put a score on this?
Hopefully you do both.
Seahawks 41, Patriots 24.
Oh, an offensive outburst. You know, that score kind of harkens back a little bit to the second Super Bowl that the Seahawks participated in, um, when the defense carried and you had a young Russell Wilson where they just started. The defense was popping early, the offense was humming, the return game, it all went together
It's kind of
for a
shaping
big
up like that
score.
again, right? It's kind of shaping up like that.
Thing that makes it difficult is there's so much national side pushing their chips in on the Seahawks, and it scares the ever living daylights out of me. Like I looked Sunday after the Hawks clinched, where they had their Super Bowl preview, and they had asked, I think, like 9 or 10 different ESPN analysts who they thought was going to win the Super Bowl. Every single one picked the Seahawks, and with the Mariners, a couple innings away from the World Series, their deepest run that they've ever had. The Seahawks going to back to the Super Bowl. That I don't know what to do. I'm not used to success this close to one another by
Yeah,
my two biggest rooting interests, right? I think that the Seahawks win by double digits. I think they win by at minimum 10. I think that they are going
yeah.
to be able to get some turnovers. I think that K9's going to have a monster day. I think that JSN's going to get involved early and often. I think Cooper Cup is going to do what Cooper Cup does in the
Mm.
Super Bowl and exceed expectations. I think that they could be scheming some big things up for Rashid Shaheed to get a couple of deep balls in there. And I think that AJ Barner, like you said, this is a game where, especially if they're running the ball well, it's going to be very easy to see the tight ends get a little bit lost on a good hard play action, right? So, but I think defensively, the Seahawks have this. I think that they're going to make it extremely difficult. I could see it being a,
I
you know,
mean,
2-3 score win if
I
I'm
mean,
being honest, but
let's.
I think at minimum they're gonna win by at least 10.
I mean, look at the offensives they had to play in the playoffs, right? Like this is not what a lot of people are talking about. They played an incompetent C.J. Stroud without Nico Collins and Tank Dell.
Yeah, playoff
Like,
Justin Herbert,
yeah, and then
Jarrett Stidham
Jarrett Stidham.
in the snow. And granted, there was a snow game in New England
Sure,
as well.
but like also like if Bo Nix plays that game, it's a little different, right? But we're not here with ifs and
I,
buts.
I think that if it doesn't snow, that the Broncos win.
Sure, and it's just this is a competent offense. Clint Kubiak has had this offense humming, and so as you said, it's hard to not think that they're going to put a bunch of points on the board.
Yeah, I think that the Seahawks win by at minimum 2 scores
Mm-hmm.
and could make this an easy rider game. I and we've seen the Seahawks do this. It could be something where you get into halftime and it's close game. Seahawks could even be down or right there with the tight ball game going into half. But with what the Seahawks have been able to do consistently when they've underperformed in the first half, is they come out on fire and turn some things around. I don't think that there is enough playmakers defensively to disrupt the Hawks like I think it is on the flip side. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, give me the Hawks. I'm going to go with 38-17.
Nice. I like it.
It is nice. And I would like it if we would get a little bit more traction over on social media. You can find me, your boy, Coach Red, on X at the real Coach Red, on Instagram at the real underscore Coach Red, TikTok at the real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and leave a comment or two. Kane, where you at?
Find me over on Twitter, Kane2406. TikTok, Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Pause. Do it, freaking do it.
And as always, stay fresh.
Stay fresh, peeps.
Peace.